Hello, I'm Virginia Crow. I'm the author of The Stealth of Caledon, a book which is out today. It is book 2 of the Caledon series. And if you get to the end and you're like, oh, I can't believe this is finished, don't worry, there are 4 more to come. So next year, book 3 will be released and it will be on the same date again, so 22nd of January. So don't worry. If you get to the end and you're really disappointed because you finished the book, there are 4 more on their way. Today I'm just going to answer a few questions that you have sent in. So thank you very much for getting in touch with those. We opened it up to our newsletter readers to send in any questions they had about Caledon or my writing at all. And I said I'd be very happy to answer them. So here I am answering those questions. So the first question was, what was your favourite book growing up? And do you think it has influenced your writing? Right, okay, this is a really tough one because I have so many books that I loved when I was growing up, and it really just depends on what point of growing up you're meaning. So I would say though that irrespective of whichever point it was, the books I read and connected with have definitely shaped how I write now. Right the way back to being very small, in fact even when books were being read to me when I wasn't reading them myself, those stories have had a knock-on lasting effect on me as a writer. And also me as a reader as well, because if I really enjoyed a book, I tend to mark the books that I read afterwards against those books. So that can be quite a tough thing to live up to. But yes, they have certainly shaped how I do my writing. So let's just draw a few favourites out of the bag. The Weird Stone of Rising Gaiman, that's definitely a favourite. That was a terrific book, and there is a lot of that creeps into Caledon with regard to supernatural things that crop up. So there's one. I also love the Robert Louis Stevenson book Kidnapped. That was an absolute favourite as well. Oh, sorry, noisy clock there. You'll realise what time I'm doing this now when the clock finishes chiming. So that was a favourite, and unsurprisingly, it's given the dates involved, it sort of marches side by side with Caledon, or Caledon marches side by side with Kidnapped. And other books, things like Lord of the Rings, I love that. And eventually, as I got slightly older, I started reading things like The Three Musketeers, which remains probably my favourite book. And certainly I have been inspired by the content of that book, as well as the way it's written. Actually, it's quite an interesting way that it's written. So yes is the answer. The short answer is yes, I was definitely inspired by things that I read as a child and still do read. So yes, definitely inspired. And the next question is, if you could meet one of your characters, who would it be? Okay, well, I'm going to stick with Caledon for this one, although there are many characters from my books that I would love to meet. Let's see. Well, I'm quite tempted. I'd quite like to meet the Loch Ness Monster, or the Eile of Power, which is what it is in the Caledon series. That would be quite cool, actually. I won't name names of people because there may be some spoilers along the way, but I would be very happy meeting any of the clan, but it would be quite awesome to meet the Eile of Power, just so that you could say you'd met it, and people would believe once and for all that there was definitely something in Loch Ness. So that would be quite awesome. So, you've done a lot of historical fiction and historical fantasy. What is your favourite thing about this genre? I love mixing the real events with a set of characters and story plots of my own creation. Sorry. It doesn't matter to me in the sense of whether or not it's fantasy or whether it's straight up historical fiction. I just love inserting people and plots into what's already there, because we all learn from history if we're smart. We all learn from history. And so there are turning points that have altered who we are now. Way back, like hundreds of years back sometimes, something happened, and at that point that shaped who we are as we're sitting here on our computers right now, which is just amazing. And so to put a story, a set of characters into that point of time and that place, that's almost like you're being there and sharing in that moment yourself. And I just love that. I love finding that connection and building on that connection. It's a brilliant, fun thing to do, and I hope that you will find it's a brilliant, fun thing to read as well. What advice would you give to authors who have not published anything yet? My advice is go for it, and be 100% behind your book. So really believe in it. And, if you believe in it that much, nothing can go wrong, because you're putting it out there not because you want anything except to share an amazing story. So just put it out there and see how it goes. And, things may not work straight away, but what will happen is you've shared this amazing story, people will pick it up, word will spread, and be patient. That's another really, really important thing. So many people are so disillusioned because they're not an overnight success, and unfortunately when I say overnight success, I'm really talking like a year, 2 years down the line. So it's not literally overnight. So really believe in it and be patient, give it a chance to grow into people's minds and their hearts, and they will spread the word for you. You only need a handful of people to believe in you and to believe in your story, and it will just escalate and ripple and ripple and ripple, and it will grow from there. So if you really believe in your writing, just put it out there. That would be my advice. Right, last one. What person from history would you most like to meet? I've been asked this before, and I'm pretty sure every time I'm asked it, I come up with a different person. It really depends just what mood I'm in when I'm sitting here, or what I've been thinking about during the day, or anything like that. There are so many people it would be amazing to meet. I do have a soft spot for Lord Byron, but I really don't want to meet him because, yeah. I think I'd probably go for someone who's more of a hero to me. But then having said that, if I did that and I met them, it could be a massive disappointment, and that would be terrible. There are people from history who I appreciate their role in history, and so I'd probably go with one of them. I keep saying I'd probably go with so and so. Gosh, tough question. I think if I had to pick someone, I'd pick John Newton, because he had a life that encompassed everything, and he always grew from what had happened, and he wasn't always a great guy at all, In fact, some of the things he did in his life were really quite horrendous. But I think he always he always became a better person of himself, a better version of himself, as he went through his life. And I would quite like to sit down and have a conversation with him, I think. So he'd be the one I'd go for at the moment. But ask me this again tomorrow and it could be someone totally different. But yes, so he'd be the one I would go for today. Right, well, that's me answered those 5 questions that you sent me. Thank you very much for sending them along. I hope you're pleased with my answers. If you, as a listener, have thought of any questions you'd like to ask, by all means, please pop those questions on the comment section below and I will get back to you about them. Do please have a look at the Stealth of Caledon. It is a real adventure, and if you haven't read book 1, don't worry, it stands alone as its own book as well. Although if you haven't read book 1 and you would like to, that would be awesome too. Hunt it out, have a read. Thank you so much for sharing my launch day. It's brilliant that you've chosen to come along and watch this video, and do enjoy the book. Let me know what you think. You'll find my email is on the second page of the book, so that you can let me know any feedback that you have, and pretty please leave a book review. So whatever you think of the book, please leave a review and say what you thought. Whether it's on Goodreads, Amazon, BookBub, anywhere at all. In fact, if possible, leave it everywhere. That would be great. And if you enjoy it, please spread the word, because like I said before, that is worth its weight in gold. Thank you very much and enjoy the book.